Today's questions are going to be looking at when we buy an item, but we don't pay for the whole thing up front. You've probably seen stores, there's heaps of ads that talk about it on TV, where you can buy a new TV, take it home today, but you don't have to pay for it all. And it's you making a negotiation with the store where I'll pay a little bit of the price today, and then I'll pay a little bit more every week or every month until I've paid it off. So that's what today's questions are going to look like, but it comes with some conditions. So you'll find that when the shops allow you to do that, it's probably because they end up making you pay a bit extra. There are some extra costs, I guess, involved when you start making these payments. So let's have a look at this first example. You've just started VCE, you want to buy yourself a new laptop. So you've got a laptop that costs $2,100. And the shop says, don't pay for the whole thing today. Don't give me the whole $2,100 now. Just give me a 20% deposit. That means just pay me 20% of the laptop price. And if you pay me that amount, take it home with you today. You can start using it. And then make repayments of $56.80 per month for 3 years. And you think, fantastic, I only have to pay a small amount today. And then every month, I'm going to pay them $56.80, and I'm going to keep doing that for 3 years. $56 a month sounds reasonable. That's only one of my shifts at work if I work on a Saturday afternoon, and that can pay for it. Sounds good, and you agree. But the question is, if you pay 20% deposit today, and then these repayments for the next 3 years, how much are you actually paying for the laptop? Because you'll probably find that it's not $2,100 by the time you make all these repayments. And that's what the calculation will help you work out today. So let's have a look at this. Here's how I want you to set it out. Every time you get a question like this, I want you to have these 3 steps. First of all, work out how much the deposit is, and I'll show you how to do it in a sec. Then work out what the total repayments will be that you're making, and eventually you'll be able to find the total cost. So let's start with the deposit. To work out the deposit amount, you have to turn the percentage of the deposit into a decimal. So this is a 20% deposit. You've got to turn 20% to a decimal. If you aren't sure how to do that, you just divide it by 100. So whatever the percentage is, put it in your calculator, divide it by 100, that turns it to a decimal. So these notes are really, really important. Make sure you're writing down these notes, pause it whenever you need to, because you follow these same steps for every single one of these questions. And then times it by the product price. That'll give you the deposit. Do that now. Here we are with your deposit amount. 20% becomes 0.2 as a decimal, times the price of the laptop, you're paying a $420 deposit. Let's go down and now work out our repayments. To work out the repayments amount, it's the amount of each payment or the amount of each repayment, you can see that from the question, times it by how many payments you're making per year. So this shop has said you're paying monthly. So work it out. If you're paying every month, how many times a year are you making a repayment? And that's what goes on that middle gap. If it said weekly, it would be a different number again. They might say annually, which means once a year. But this question says you're paying it monthly. Work out how many times a year that is. And the last gap, the number of years. Look back up to the question. It tells you there how many years you're going to be doing it for. Type in that info and work out your repayment amount. All right, this tells us that after your 3 years of making these repayments, you've paid $2,044.80. Last step, total cost. To work out your total cost, it's your deposit amount, so the amount you paid the shop on the day you bought the laptop, plus the total amount you paid them as part of your repayments plan. And that'll give you the final cost of your laptop. So the laptop ended up costing you $2,464.80. While it sounded like a good idea at the time, because the shop said only pay me 20% today and give me a little bit each month, you found that you've ended up paying more than the original price of the laptop on these plans. So it's really important to understand these steps so you know if you're getting ripped off or not. Let's try another one. This time you've got an engagement ring. This engagement ring costs $3,600. You've found the person you want to marry and it's time to settle down. You've gone and bought them this engagement ring. Problem is you can't afford this engagement ring, but you really, really want to get it for them. So the jewelry shop says, hold on, let me do you a little bit of a deal. Don't pay the whole $3,600 today. Just pay me a 15% deposit, then repayments of $33.70 every week for 2 years. And that sounds much better to you because you don't have to pay the whole amount up front now. All you have to do is give the shop 15% of the price of the ring. Then, every week, you're going to pay them $33.70 for the next 2 years. Let's set out our working out with those same 3 subheadings, and then we'll go through each step. All right, there are our 3 subheadings. Now let's go one by one and work through each step. I want full working out, please, just like we had in those examples on the screen before. Let's start with the deposit. To work out the deposit, turn that percentage into a decimal and times it by the cost of the ring. That will tell you what your deposit is. Do that now. Your deposit, meaning the amount you pay the shop today, is $540. So that means you go home today with the ring in your hand and you've only paid $540. Now let's work out the repayments. For you to work out the next step, it's the weekly repayment amount times the number of payments per year. So to answer this, you need to know how many weeks are in a year. Google it if you need to, but it's not an exact number. So for the purpose of this question, just make it the nearest whole number. So you need to know how many weeks are in a year to do the middle step. Check your notes from before and do the repayments amount. There are 52 weeks approximately in a year. For the purpose of all maths questions that we do, we assume there are 52 weeks in a year. So it's our repayment amount times the number of payments per year. So if you're paying every week, that means you're paying 52 times a year, and it's for 2 years. So you end up making repayments of $3,504.80. Final step, look back to your notes if you've forgotten, work out the total cost of this engagement ring. This ring ended up costing you $4,044.80. So more than $400 than the original price by taking them up on this payment plan. Okay, one more example. Now you've found a TV that you want to buy for your bedroom. You've decided with the amount of time that you're going to be spending at home these days, you want a brand new TV for your room. You've found the perfect one, it's huge, it takes up the whole back wall, but it costs $1,900. You don't have that kind of money on you right now, so the shop says, let me do you a favour. You only need to pay a 10% deposit today and you can take the TV home with you. Then make monthly repayments of $48 for the next 4 years. Now $48 doesn't sound like very much every month, does it? Especially if you're working, so you agree. I've left these same 3 subheadings here because that's the same every single time. So I want you to do all the same steps as before. I'll go one by one with you. Make sure, if you need to go back to those slides from earlier, the pictures from earlier, make sure you've got those steps written down in your notes so you know how to find the deposit, repayments and total cost for each of these questions. But let's just start with the first one. Turn the percentage into a decimal to work out the deposit amount. If you've forgotten to turn a percentage to a decimal, divide that number by 100. Your deposit amount is $190. That means you give the shop $190, you take the TV home with you today. Now let's work out the repayment amount. The repayment amount times the number of payments you're going to make per year. So you're paying every month. That means work out how many times a year you're going to be making the repayments times the number of years. Go. So according to this plan, you're paying $48 for each repayment every month. That means you're paying it 12 times a year for 4 years. You end up paying repayment amounts of $2,304. Last part, work out the total cost of your TV. So if you take them up on this payment plan, you are paying a total of $2,494 for your TV because you paid them that much in the shop and then you pay them that much every month. So you end up with this total amount here. One final question, and sometimes questions in the book or on the test will ask you this. Everything you've done is correct, but they'll ask you one more thing. They'll say, how much extra did you pay for the TV? So this is like one extra step they sometimes might want to know. The TV cost $1,900. You ended up paying $2,494. With a bit of working out, which is whatever you type in the calculator, write down how much extra did you pay for the TV. Have a go at that now. Here's what you should have done to work it out. You paid that much, the TV cost that much, so take it away, you paid $594 extra. And again, worded questions love worded answers, so you could have done a whole sentence. I paid $594 extra, would be fantastic. All right, work through the questions in the book.